Hello and welcome to another Drazy 160 video. Today we're doing a layout update and we're having a look at the use of Redutex. I've been using it a lot in the last few weeks. If you've never used it before, it's an excellent material that is a sort of rubber sort of material with printed and embossed details in over the top and various different colours. So you've got here's some different types of material in the photo here to show you what it is, and some of them are weathered and distressed, and they are extremely useful for getting a good finish. Just a quick word before we get into the meat of it. I'm not sponsored by them. This is just showing you what I've been doing. I've used it before on the roof here of the merchandise shed in Limoges, and also the roof of the tram building to the left there. And as you can see, it fits in with the aesthetic of it. It's not shiny. It can be weathered down just nicely. I've already started using it probably about a couple of months ago, just to sort of outline the box that's going into the river scene here. And you can't really see it from this location, but this angle shows that I've put a quick thin strip around the edge of it so that I could undertake the river. But I understood pretty quickly that I actually needed to do a little bit more. I needed to create the weir, which is in the middle of this frame here, which is where it's going to go. And that's what I was doing here. So I also wanted to just add a bit more detail to the sort of the box to give it some cobbles, and I did that. To start though, I created the balsa wood frame for the weir, and then I put on the knock stone edging that went around the edge of it, and you could sort of start to get a feel for how it started to look. It started to look fairly realistic fairly quickly. And on top, I wanted to put some cobblestones as a nice texture. I just quite like the cobblestones, and I thought it might be fairly realistic. I don't know if it's exactly prototypical, but that's fine. And it's not the best finish, but I can touch that up with a bit of weathering. And then over the top of the box, I decided to add more cobbles. Again, I thought that this would be quite nice to do here, and it's not the best finish in terms of flatness, but again, the building's going to sit on top of it, and I could add some grass and whatever. The next project I was on to do was the sort of maintenance building for Limoges. It's the first building for Limoges, and I used my 3D cutter device, my silhouette cutter device, and created a frame for the building first. It was quite a challenge to actually fully cut through, but I managed to achieve that eventually. And then I started cutting out the Redutex to size. Now the Redutex is very forgiving. It's quite stretchy material, and there were some points where I did have to use some of that stretch to cope with the fact that I'm not great at cutting things accurately. You can see here that this has been sort of done on my cutting device. It didn't work out very well because of the greasy backed paper, but for the rest of the building, I think, I just did it by hand, and it seemed to work quite well. I just wanted to use Redutex because it's a very quick way of being able to get buildings done, and I don't have much free time, so this was a big time saver for me. The maintenance building was one of the first scenes I wanted to finish. Wanted to just get a sort of the layout done in stages, and the reason being is that then I could take photos of my maintenance stock that I use the 3D printer to create. So it's starting to take shape, and later on in the evening when I was making this, I actually added the roof here, and I've got a few photos of that a bit later. But before I did that, I just thought it'd be useful to show you the sort of structure of the building from the inside, the card frame. This is the first shot with the roof on. I used the weathered corrugated iron. I'm going to weather that down a little bit more just to give it a bit more dirt. It's probably a little bit bright, but I thought that this was a really good sort of looking sheet. It's not quite what the actual building's like, but that's fine. And I've also been working on the layout. I've added a couple of extra sidings here at Limoges. These are in addition to what's on the carriage siding side of things. And these two sidings are just to sort of hold extra stock. I've realised I need to have more places to store my rolling stock, because I don't have enough, and I've got a lot of rolling stock. The other addition is that I mentioned earlier about the maintenance building. I've actually added another siding on so that it's I can shunt longer trains in and out of these sidings, and the siding goes around the corner going out towards the sort of Limoges Paris side of the layout. But then also from the Limoges branch line, I've decided to add a set of 4 sidings that are in this location, and they would just fill the space quite nicely. And this would kind of represent Imber, the sidings that are sort of north of Limoges, although they're going to be much smaller. Adding to the other side of the layout, I realised I had a dead space, and I thought that actually it'd be quite good to put a small village in this location, but also a siding off the main line. And I haven't put that in yet, but just a siding to put a draisine or a maintenance vehicle, whatever it is, there. And I thought that the village would be a nice challenge for me to do. And I've put a couple of buildings out just to show roughly where it's going to go. And I'm going to populate that probably with some sort of kit-built buildings. I think, one of the things I'm starting to realise with the layout is that I do struggle with time. If there are some shortcuts that still look okay, I'm going to take them, because I want to have the layout looking quite nice so I can run trains past some nice scenery, because that's the purpose of it. So that's basically it. That's been the last sort of few months of doing updates. If you've got to this point in the video and you're not a subscriber already, I would love it if you subscribe to it, because I do updates on this, and I do updates on all sorts of things to do with French trains. It would be great to have another subscriber. To those that already have subscribed, thank you. If you like the video, click like. It's very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.